Welcome everybody back to episode 2 of From the Sidelines with your host, TJ. Let's get right into it. Let's talk game 2, game 3 of the NBA Finals, and then we're going to do our top 10 NBA player rankings immediately following. Um, but first, I want to start off with the top 2 games of the NBA Finals. We had the San Antonio Spurs go down to the New York Knicks in a game where they lose by 1 point. And a lot of people will say it is because Wemby. So, I mean, let's just call it what it is here. Wemby did not have his best game. However, he came alive in the second half of this game. Just ultimately wasn't enough. He ended up turning the ball over, having a bad turnover, and kind of selling them in the end there. But on the Knicks side, you had a really good game from Karl Anthony Towns, where he kind of like owned Wemby for a majority of this game. I'm seeing he put up 21, 8 for 12. He cooled off in the second half for sure. I want to say he had like 16 going into the half. So Wemby definitely turned up, but Cat is what got this game going. Cat is what got the Knicks into this game because, like in the first game and in the third game, the Spurs went up early in this one. The Spurs were up. I want to say they were up double digits. Yep, they were up 9. It was a 25 to 34 in the first quarter in favor of the Spurs. And then in that second quarter, Cat really got them going. They scored 31, held the Knicks to held the Spurs to only 16, and really kind of dominated in that quarter. Cat looked like the best player on the court. Better than Jalen Brunson, better than Wemby. It looked like it was Cat's game. Um, and then Mikal Bridges came along for the ride, 20 points efficiently, just couldn't miss. Landry Shamet had a couple clutch shots. Um, OG 5 for 10, and then Josh Hart, of course, couldn't get anything going in this game, but they didn't need it. That second quarter from the Knicks was some of the most dominant basketball I've seen out of that team. And they've been on a dominant stretch. That just shows how good they were in that second quarter. They completely shut Wemby out, kind of just made it impossible for him. He couldn't get down low, couldn't shoot threes. Now, a big thing that was discussed between me and my friend group about this game was how physical the refs allowed them to play. I like when refs don't call like touchy, like whatever fouls, right? I felt like a line started to be crossed in this game, and I felt like it was just getting pushed over and over, and everyone was kind of just like, "Who's gonna do it? Like, When are they gonna start calling fouls?" I felt like Castle would be like, "Okay, well, they're not calling anything, so every time Brunson comes up, I'm shoving him. I'm shoving him." Um, and then on the other end, Cat I felt like was fouling a hell of a lot. So to me at one point, like especially late in his game, it kind of turned into like a football match, and I wasn't enjoying it. I'm not gonna lie. It got to a point where they let them play too much. I love letting them play. I love letting the players decide the games. I don't want to decide it by whistles, but it gets to a point I felt like both teams were pushing the limit, and it just kept going. And the refs were like, I don't want to make these calls. I don't want to make these calls. So in game 3, I think it was a little bit better. We'll get to that conversation because I know the refs are a big point of an argument. Mike Brown post game, everything, but we'll get to that game when we get to it. But in this game, I felt like the refs overly let them play. However, I don't think that's the reason the Spurs lost. I don't think that's the reason the Knicks won. I think it was just interesting to watch. And then this is a game for the Spurs where Wemby has a bad first half. Stephon Castle can't get anything going. Um, Dylan Harper is doing Dylan Harper. He's doing good, but it's a game where overall they weren't very good. Champagny couldn't hit threes. Vassell was 4 for 9. He didn't have a bad game, but it was a game where overall they really weren't on much as a team, and they were still in position to win. And that's one of the games that hurts to lose. That's the game that is the best to win and the worst to lose. Um, which unfortunately the Spurs they were right there. They just couldn't overcome it. They went on a what was it, like a 17-0 run or something, 14-0 run late in this fourth quarter. And it started by De'Aaron Fox, who I want to give a big shout out to because game 1 and throughout the whole playoffs, it's been like, where's De'Aaron Fox? Where's De'Aaron Fox? He is the one. He showed up today, or I guess it was like almost a week ago now, but he showed up. He showed up. He proved why they traded for him. He did exactly what he needed him to do. He hit that step back three. Then he got to the basket, got a little layup, and it kind of juiced the whole team. Um, And then there was a play late in his fourth quarter where I want to say the Spurs were down 3. It might have even been a tie game. It was something. But Wemby takes a step back corner 3 and just airballs it. And this is what my point has been over and over and over again with this team is like, when are they going to understand that they just can't get it all back in one? Like, why Wemby, when you're just a brute force, you're 7-4, jump shot hasn't been falling this game. Why a step back 3? And then I thought Mitch Johnson down the stretch here, I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was really bad. I know a lot of the blame goes to Wemby, deservingly so in this one, but Mitch Johnson's play call when it's a tie game with 35 seconds left is to just get Wemby the ball and have him take that deep elbow midi. I hated that. I hated that decision. I thought it should have been De'Aaron Fox, Wemby, pick and roll. And then, like, I understand, my bad. I understand it going for the 2-for-1. I'm not saying that they were wrong in doing that. I just think they could have had a better play call than a face up at the wing and just pull up. Um, it wasn't a terrible look because it's Victor Wembanyama at the end of the day, but that's just not the shot that you really want to live with, in my opinion. And then they go down and they get the stop. And of course, the age-old question, do you call a timeout? Do you not? Watching that playback, in my head, before the play happened, I said, if Fox or Castle get this rebound, run. Anyone else call a timeout? Because I think it was probably Vassell and Champagne on the floor at that time. I know Champagne was on the floor. I don't know if it was Vassell or not. But I was like, if Wemby gets the timeout, Champagne gets it, timeout. But if it goes to one of the guards, run. Let him run. Let him run. Let him run. And the Knicks ended up taking a shot earlier on in the shot clock than I expected them to. But even with that, Wemby gets the rebound, and watching that play back, like, one, they had no advantage. So on one hand, I get it. You want to have them keep Jalen Brunson in the game. You want to keep some of these bad defenders. But on the other hand, I feel like that's something that should have been discussed, like with your players, because it looked like maybe it was just Stephon Castle that didn't know what was going on. Because when I watched it back, you see Fox, Champagne, and I want to say it was Vassell underneath the basket, all waiting with Wemby and had the ball in his hands. But then Stephon Castle is just leaking down the court. He's just running down the court. So was the decision to run? Was it to get the ball and then play, like just play it out? Did you already have your play design? You just didn't want them to have any chance to make subs, or what was the decision there? Because Wemby and Castle seemed to think run. The other half of the team seemed to think don't run. And I'll say this, as much as you can blame this game on Wemby, watching that play back, he looks Stephon Castle dead in the eyes, and Stephon Castle looks right back and then just turns his head right as Wemby's making a pass. I think the blame can go evenly on all three of them, on Mitch Johnson, on Stephon Castle, and on Wemby. Wemby, I think, just needed to get the ball to Fox. I think that's kind of what everyone thought was going to happen. Castle, no need for him to be running down the court if that wasn't what was called up. And then Mitch Johnson, of course, like, just call a timeout at the end of the day. So I understand all three sides of it. However, they didn't do it. And then Wemby instantly fouls, which I don't know if I hated in the moment, because Jalen Brunson had just 2 possessions ago hit a crazy shot to tie the game up. And then Wemby gets to stop the next go around. But Jalen Brunson in the clutch is just so phenomenal. I don't think Wemby intentionally fouled him necessarily, but it was a foul. I don't know if I would have been on the side of just let it go, like just let the play. Because if you let them get the clock down and then Brunson, it's a shot, it's game over anyways, right? You got lucky that he only made one, and then you got lucky with the shot on the other end, which was a wide open elbow mid-range that Wemby probably makes 7 times out of 10, and it just didn't fall this time. Which I mean, back rim, it was a good look, rised up right over Mitchell Robinson, no hesitation. I will say there was probably, I want to say it was like around 3 seconds left when he decided to shoot the ball. I would have loved to see him pump fake, because Mitchell Robinson got off of his feet and then just drive by for the layup, because it's a 7-foot Victor Wembanyama, 7'4". He was going to get to the basket if he wanted to get to the basket. So overall, I think Mitch Johnson coached a pretty bad game. Because even earlier on in this one, I think in the third quarter, the Spurs started to go on a run, and once they got to within, I want to say it was like, I don't know, because they were down like 18 at one point in this game. Like it had gotten bad at one point, but they had gotten it within like it was a couple possession game, and then he pulls Fox and Castle and Wemby out the game. Matter of fact, he might have kept Castle in the game, but he pulled Fox and Wemby, and instantly the lead ballooned back up to 10. I want to say they got it down to like 4, and it instantly ballooned back up to like 10, 11, which to me is just like, I understand Wemby needs rest and Fox needs rest, but if I'm in a must-win game and Wemby's dominating the way he is in that third quarter and Fox is doing what he's doing, I'm letting them get to at least tie the game back up, at least before I'm even thinking about pulling him out the game. So I didn't like that from Mitch Johnson. I thought some of the rotations were really bad. I don't think Mitch Johnson has been good, and we can transition a little bit more into game 3 here as well. I just don't think Mitch Johnson has been very good with his rotations so far in his finals. Um, I don't like his usage of some of these players. I think like Stephon Castle in game 3 was amazing, but in game 2 and game 1, he couldn't buy a bucket. I mean, he was 5 for 14 last game, and he's getting 28 minutes. I guess Dylan Harper did end up playing 32 minutes in that one, and to Stephon Castle's 28. But it felt like we needed more Harper in game 3 or game 2, excuse me, and more Fox. Like, I don't know. Wemby needs to play almost like 45 minutes, 44 minutes to be for them to be able to win this game or like win this series. It feels like in transitioning into game 3 here, where the Spurs end up coming out of it. Wemby plays 39 minutes in this one. Luke Cornett gets 9 minutes. The Spurs in the minutes that Wemby's not on the court are flat out awful, which is like, I want to say it's concerning, but it's what you expected coming into it, right? Because Wemby is sneak peek for later the best player in the world, and Luke Cornett is just a major drop off. Now I don't think Luke Cornett's bad. I think he's a good backup. I think he's a decent rim protector, but you see it time and time again when Wemby comes out the game for those 3-4 minute spurts at a time. Jalen Brunson attack, Cat attack, Mikal Bridges get to the rim. OG don't give a fuck who's there. OG dunked Wemby's ass twice. Doing the same thing, just get a little bit in front, yam. Like OG don't care, but the rest of them you can see will attack and attack over and over again. Um, so I'm interested to see what's going to happen because you have to rest Wemby, but you got to win games at the same time. And the second Wemby comes off the court, the Knicks go on a run almost every time. But this is another game where the Spurs don't play particularly well, and I think that's been a common theme throughout the first 3 games is that none of these teams have played to the level that we know they can offensively. Let me clarify. None of these teams have offensively played to the level that we all know that they can. Um, and I think that's partially because these are obviously 2 of the best, if not the best defenses in the league, where you're not just going to get to the basket and score on Wemby. Like there was a play in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter of game 3, where Landry Shamet ends up getting the ball and going to lay it up, and Wemby throws that bitch off the glass. But if you just watch that play back, like that is the most perfect defensive possession I've ever seen. They are rotating everything. Wemby closes out on whoever it was on a wing, and then immediately gets over, closes out on Shamet, and then Shamet drives by him, and Wemby just throws it off the glass. But I mean, Stephon Castle was getting everywhere. Like that possession, I watched that possession back, and I immediately hit my group chat, and I was like, "Yo, like this is how like that is basketball. Like that is textbook defense right there." There, you can't coach better than that. You couldn't play better defense than that. That was perfectly executed, and we've seen a lot of that from both of these teams. Like, and with especially how physical they're letting both teams play, the Knicks have done such a phenomenal job of not letting Wemby just get to where he's going. Now, of course, in this one he did. In this game, Wemby absolutely got to wherever the hell he wanted to get to. And I loved to see it. I loved to see it. My favorite version of Wemby. Like my favorite thing to watch Wemby do is get underneath the basket and just put the ball in. Just put the ball. That's all we ask. You set you right there. He's right there. Just lay it in. Just and they made that an emphasis. I want to say he scored like 8 points off rip, just underneath the basket. They threw him a couple lobs. This was one of the best display of lob throwing I've seen. Like they just made it look easy. I mean, and it is because the second Wemby gets an inch behind him, throw the ball, just above the rim, anywhere, and Wemby will put it down. Um, and then only 4 3-point attempts in this game. Chef's kiss. I love that. I love that. I hate when I see Wemby. I want to say in the last game he shot like 9 threes. The game one he shot a bunch of threes. Like I hate when I see Wemby relying on a 3-point. Like I'll say this time and time again. He's not Kevin Durant. He's not Stephon or Steph Curry. He's not any of these guys. Like you are so good and you can shoot threes. That's what I want it to be with Wemby. You are the best player in the world. You're an alien. You're 7'4", and you can dribble a little bit and shoot the three. I don't want it to be you're the best in the world because of this. I want it to be you're the best in the world and you can do that. The cherry on top, if you will. Like, and that's what it was today. That's what it was in this game. It wasn't the emphasis. It wasn't what he was doing. That wasn't his goal. It wasn't to get the ball at the top of the key, dribble, step back three. But then I think he realized, when I just catch the ball in the post, one dribble spin, layup, dunk it, whatever. Oh, all of a sudden they really don't want me to get to the rim. Pull up, three, bang. I mean, he even hit that a 4-point play where obviously it ends up getting overturned, because Keldon Johnson, who I'm gonna get to, because Keldon Johnson needs an ass whooping. Keldon Johnson ended up pushing Mitchell Robinson into him, but I mean, even that three, he banged it. Like you could tell. I think the confidence in his shot goes up when he's already getting the easy ones, which is with anybody in the NBA. But when you're 7'4", makes a little bit of a difference, right, Wemby? So I love to see that. De'Aaron Fox, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, my brother. He was so phenomenal in game 2. This game, terrible. Couldn't buy a bucket until the end, where it was the most needed bucket, and he absolutely bought that bucket, which ended up being a really good shot. Kind of iced the game a little bit because I mean then OG goes on to hit that 3. We'll get to OG in a second as well, but so De'Aaron Fox, like I don't know, man, what are we doing? I mean, he had 8 assists, but -7 on the court. 12 points, 4 for 14. I mean, that's just not what they're paying him for. They just need him to go buy buckets. Like he just needs to be able to score the ball a little bit more. And it wasn't in this game. But who did score the ball in this game was Stephon Castle. Golly, man. This Spurs team is just it's scary and is gonna continue to be scary, bro. Between Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle, they aren't scared of a damn thing. They are not scared of anything. They everything they see under the basket is food. Stephon Castle, he ended up finishing, what was it, 8 for 14 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. He just saw like food underneath the basket. Just get to the layup, lay it in over and over and over and over and over. They didn't have an answer for him. He ended up being a +6 in this game as well. 5 assists, 5 rebounds. He's not been facilitating as well in this game. I think that comes, or in this series, I think that comes from the Spurs' lack of being able to shoot. Devin Vassell was 3 for 4 in this game, but once again, like just inefficient from the 3. Dylan Harper was 1 for 8 from 3. Golly, we'll get to that. But yeah, Stephon Castle. And then, of course, he hits the absolute grenade that Wemby threw him at the end of the shot clock that really was like, okay, yeah, the Spurs are going to win this game. That, and then the Fox thing, it was like, yeah, the Spurs are going to win this one. We're going to see a longer series, which I love because I don't want to see no 4-game series. I don't want to see a 5-game series. I'm hoping the Spurs come out. I don't care who wins in the end, but I'm hoping the Spurs come out and win the next game. I want the series to go on for as long as I can. I mean, this has been, I don't know the last time I've watched, I mean, OKC Thunder Pacers series last year was pretty good, but this has been like, you couldn't write a better start to a final series than this. So But yeah, Stephon Castle just fearless, man. Just so good. Got to wherever he wanted. There was a play in this game where he gets smacked on the arm and hit on the head and he lays it up and they don't even call a foul. And I'm like, yeah. Like and then those free throws at the end of the game, just calm, cool, and collected. Just I got us. Just chill out, y'all. Chill out. I got us. I do this. Like, and he wasn't even efficient from the free throw line in this game. Well, actually, I lied. He was 5 for 6, but in the past couple games, they've been really inefficient from the line. They kind of got that together in this game. But yeah, Stephon Castle. I mean, if Victor Wembanyama didn't exist, you would be getting the game ball. But unfortunately, I mean, we got to give it to Wemby, right? Like 32-9, 32-9, and what? 3 blocks, 2 steals, +7, only 1 turnover, only 3 fouls. Only 3 fouls is a 7'4" player who was like constantly under the rim is like I've been really impressed with his ability to not foul, honestly. Um, and then yeah, we can talk about Dylan Harper. He didn't have a great game at all. He was letting it fly from three. There was like two threes. I want to say in the last like 2 minutes that he took that could have iced the game, and then he missed, and I was like, oh fuck, here it goes. I just knew for sure like the Knicks were gonna do some bullshit and somehow win this game, and they ended up not being able to. OG tried with that shot at the end. Jalen Brunson hit the three, but the Spurs came down and they were just collected, calm. Uh, Harper, not a great game at all, but I'm happy to see Mitch Johnson just leaving him out there, letting him play 32 minutes, even though he was really inefficient in this one. Um, because I mean, in the end, he's been really good. Like he's been their most consistent second option offensively throughout the first 2 games. So seeing him get burned, Carter Bryant, Keldon Johnson, Keldon Johnson. I've watched him this playoff run, and I will be the first to admit I was not staying up to watch a lot of Spurs games this year. I was not staying up till 11, 12 a.m. my time to watch a lot of Spurs game. I really just wasn't. Maybe in a regular season he was phenomenal. Maybe he was the best player in the world, but him winning six man of the year over like Jaime Jaquez or even like a Naz Reid or Peyton Pritchard, whoever else is in the conversation, has been like mind blowing to me. And it didn't happen until he randomly one day went onto the podium and was like, I should be six man of the year. And all of a sudden everyone was like, yeah, okay. Why not? Yeah, yeah. Let's just vote Keldon Johnson six man of the year. He's been terrible. Like flat out bad, awful. And every time I see him on the floor, I get mad. I get agitated. Why is he out there? What is he doing? He's just a big bowling ball running around, turning the ball over. He had 3 turnovers. No, he had 2 turnovers, 3 fouls in 17 minutes. And somehow he was a plus 14. I will say this was probably his best game so far at the playoffs that I've seen from him. 3 for 5, like he got to his spots, but like there was even a play in this game where it's like he just catches the ball on the wing. Like it's not a fast break, but it's definitely not like a, you know what I'm saying? Like it was kind of like they're just bringing the ball up and he just catches the ball and just runs with no thought process. And he just stops and turns the ball over. And I'm just like, man, what are we doing, bro? What are we doing? So he really just makes me mad to see. And he's just out there and he shoots the ball too much. He has too much of a green light to do whatever the hell he wants out there. Um, he needs to not play. Like I'll just call it what it is in my opinion. He really needs to not play in the rest of this series that much, like 10 minutes. But as far as I'm concerned, the Spurs need to go down to like a 7 man rotation. Like I don't know, Carter Bryant doesn't need to be getting minutes. Keldon Johnson to me doesn't need to be getting minutes, and then Luke Cornett can play his couple minutes. But this needs to be Wemby, Champagny, Vassell, Castle, Fox off the bench. We'll have Dylan Harper, and then we can have Keldon Johnson play maybe 10 minutes and Luke Cornett play his 8 minutes a game. And that should be it. I don't want to see Carter Bryant out there. I don't want Keldon Johnson getting almost 20 minutes. That's like that's just unnecessary, especially, you know, going into game 4 when your back is truly against the wall still. You're still going up against the New York Knicks at home in MSG. Like it's not going to be an easy game to win. Just because you came out and won this one does not mean it's going to be easy to do it again at all. And you barely snuck out of there with this one. You went on a crazy run in the third and really like started off once again. Spurs start off so hot, 33-22, going to the end of the first half or end of the first quarter with an 11-point lead, and then 42 points given up in the second quarter. What is it about the Spurs that can't stop the Knicks in the second quarter? I don't know. But they just can't score the ball in the second quarter, and they cannot defend in the second quarter. But then they brought it back in the third, and then they kept it going in the fourth. They need to not give up that second quarter run in game 4 if they really want to win this game or the series, because I'm not going to lie, only giving up 20 points in the fourth quarter to a Jalen Brunson-led team is not easy to repeat. It's not easy to repeat at all. And on the Knicks side of things, it's getting scary. And I know it's so weird to say because I'm over here like, Spurs, don't get complacent. Like, this is like, you're still very vulnerable. I'll say the same thing to the Knicks because let's call it what it is. You're a bad Wemby turnover away from being down in this series 2-1. And so in a game where OG has almost 30, 28 on 9 for 13, very efficiently, was clearly the best player out there the whole game. And Josh Hart hits 4 threes and has 16 points. Jalen Brunson has 32 points. Even Jordan Clarkson comes in, gives you 10 points. You couldn't win this game. This is probably the best offensive performance we've seen from the Knicks so far. And they couldn't pull it out, which concerns me. Mikal Bridges couldn't get going in this game because he got 3 early fouls. Actually, I think he got 2 early fouls, and then it just threw off his whole rhythm. He finishes with 2 points on 1 for 5. Cat, after such a dominant start to game 2, comes out soft again. 4 for 10, 11 points, 4 fouls. Could have been like 12 fouls, 8 rebounds, 0 for 2 from downtown. Just not aggressive enough. Only 10 shots. But I thought the biggest thing with this game was way too much Brunson ball. I thought it was way too much just Jalen Brunson dribble, and then, late in the shot clock, okay, OG, go make a shot. Okay, Josh Hart, shoot this. Okay, Cat. Nah, not even Cat. Cat never does anything. Okay, who am I missing? Mikal Bridges. It was just kind of like a grenade. Jordan Clarkson, like Landry Shamet was bad in this one. 1 for 7, 1 for 8 from the field. So I say all that to say, like, this was a game where this has been the best performance offensively so far for Jalen Brunson, for OG, for Josh Hart, for Jordan Clarkson. But it's also been the worst offensive performance for Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns and Landry Shamet. So I want to see if we're either going to game where all the Knicks click, or are we going to get a game where all the Knicks kind of float into that, like, shit. Like, they haven't lost in a long time. They haven't lost in 2 series. And the last loss they had was against the Hawks. Like, let's just call it what it is. They were always going to beat the Hawks. They're a significantly better team than the Hawks. So we haven't seen the Knicks go up against adversity in a while, and really at all. Because I know, like, saying, oh, well, it's just the Hawks. Like, we've seen, teams get upset before, but like, this is different. Going down and giving the Spurs, a young Spurs team's confidence on the road. It's not like, okay, they won 2 home games, but we're gonna go get ours back. No. You gave them confidence that they can go into MSG and beat y'all. Like, they really think right now that they can go and bust y'all ass. Because they're probably thinking the same thing. Man, we didn't even play good for half the game. That's what the Spurs are thinking right now. De'Aaron Fox didn't even do anything. Dylan Harper couldn't buy a bucket, and we still won. And we looked good. Like, it ended up being a 4-point game, but I think for the last couple minutes of the game, it was like kind of like, okay, the Spurs are going to win this one. So if I'm the Knicks and if I'm a Knicks fan, I'm really nervous. I'm really, really nervous. I really am, because I don't know, man. It's just the Spurs. Something about the Spurs is different. Something about the Spurs just puts fear in my heart. If I'm another team, like, Wemby's a guy that I genuinely believe, like, just wants it enough to be able to do it. Like, and I know that's so cliche to say, kind of, because it's like, bro, you don't think Jalen Brunson wants it? You don't think OG wants it that bad? But like, I don't know, when I hear Wemby, like, when I see Wemby out there, I'm like, he wants it and he's gonna get it. Like, that's how I feel. I feel like Wemby instills a fear into everyone. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just scared of the 7'4" monster, but shit, man. So I think both teams are gonna come into this game with an edge, like a chip on their shoulder. And I really do. I kind of fear that the Knicks are gonna crumble. And I know it sounds weird because they're the older team, they're the more experienced team, they're at home. But it's just like I feel like their backs against the wall. They haven't lost in a long time. Like this, if there's a game where I think the Knicks are gonna come out soft and just come out and be like, fuck, we lost, I think it's gonna be this one. So my prediction, game is tomorrow. My prediction is that the Spurs will tie the series up 2-2. And if you really want my prediction for the rest of the way, I think the Spurs will go up 2-2 or tie 2-2. I think they'll go home, win game 5, um, lose game 6 on the road, and come back and win game 7. So I'm taking the Spurs in 7. I know my opinion flip flops so much on this series because like every game has been so close, so down to the wire. And in my head, I'm like, the Spurs are like literally Wemby not being a fucking idiot, or Mitch Johnson just calling a timeout away from them being potentially up 2-1. Maybe it goes in overtime and the Knicks still win, but like they're that close to being up 2-1. And if they were up 2-1 right now, I would be having all the confidence in the world that they were going to win game 3 or game 4 as well. So I am right now, as of today, as of June 9th, because this pod is coming out the day after I record it, I am fairly confident in my prediction that the Spurs are going to end up winning the series. However, the Knicks could also just come out and win the next 2 games, and it really wouldn't surprise me that much. Like that's how I feel about this series. Like I think the Spurs are gonna do it, but also the Knicks could just win the next 2 games, and it's like, oh, okay, Spurs had a good game, but that's it, and it's they're just a year too early. Um, but yeah, man, it's been phenomenal basketball. This has been probably the most entertaining finals. Obviously, last year's finals was also really entertaining, but I don't know, something about this finals has really been getting to me. Now, let's transition into my top 10 NBA player rankings. And I want to start by saying this. Um, my picks are based on a lot of things, right? It's not just based on potential. It's not just based on this year. And it's not just based on what they've done. I think I'm just picking who I think the top 10 players are going into next year. Simple as that. I'm not projecting in this. I'm not reflecting in this. This is just who I think are the top 10 players in basketball. And we will start off with some honorable mentions. My honorable mentions are Tyrese Maxey, who phenomenal player. Um, just so elite. Like him, I'll throw Embiid in there too, because I don't have Embiid in my top 10 as well. Um, I think both of them like can play at a top 10 level. Obviously I've seen Embiid play at a top 1 level. Like I've seen Embiid be the best player in the world, but unfortunately just his health he's getting older and he's just not been as good and reliable. And for Tyrese Maxey, I just like the other guys over him, to be completely honest. Kevin Durant is another guy that didn't make my list, and obviously we know what Kevin Durant has been, and we know what Kevin Durant is, and he's never going to be a bad player. Like don't get me wrong, Kevin Durant is still, I would probably have him at 11 or 12 right now. But once again, I'm just the guys I have over him, I'm liking over him. And we'll start off with my number 10, which is Cade Cunningham. Cade this year, and I'll pull up the stats as I go. Cade Cunningham this year was what everyone thought he was going to be. And coming into the league, I want to say like Cade this year backpacked, I want to say one of the best teams in the best team in the regular season. 63 or something win pace Pistons team. And he did it averaging 24, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, 46% for the field, 34% for 3 for Cade. That I'll take that every day of the year. Really good. The only knock I have for Cade is the turnovers, and I feel like that's just like, I mean, everyone knows it. Like he turns the ball over a lot, but I think he's way overtaxed on that Pistons team because who else do they really have out there with them? I mean, Dennis Jenkins is like the only other guy that can handle the ball. You can see they were trying to get like Karis LeVert. They were trying to get Tobias Harris to do some stuff. Kevin Hurt, like they tried and they tried, but at the end of the day, they didn't really have any other options but Cade. And for him to be 24 years old and lead the 60 something win Pistons to the playoffs, obviously they lost in the second round to a Cavs team, which is really unfortunate. But I mean, took them to 7, led a 3-1 comeback. Cade Cunningham is the real deal. I remember everyone kind of wrote him off after his first couple of years. They're like, oh, Cade, he can't stay healthy. He's not all that, blah, blah, blah. And now I think he is pretty easily, in my opinion, a top 10 player in the league. I mean, he did have a down year in terms of scoring. He was down almost 2 points a game. 2 points. They were a way better team. I mean, what are you gonna do, right? Cade Cunningham is a superstar. Like he is in the making. I don't, maybe not the title yet, but he is an absolute superstar in the making. Um, 6 foot what 6, just tall guards. I love tall guards. I'll always love tall guards. But he really does everything. He can rebound the ball. He can pass the ball. He can score the ball. His shot is becoming better. Um, it's been going up 31% when he first came in, 28 the next year, 35, 35, 34. So he's around an average 3-point shooter now. Um, and just the ultimate like floor raiser for a team. He is I cannot wait to see the Pistons get a second fiddle for Cade Cunningham because I think the conversations he's going to be in are nasty, but I just think he's just a year away. I think he's just a year away from being a little bit higher on his list. My number 9. Some people are going to love it. Some people are going to hate it. Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, his playoff run has cemented himself to me as a top 10 player. Because I'm not going to lie, coming into the season and even throughout most of the season coming into the playoffs, I probably wouldn't have had Jalen Brunson like solidified in my top 10. He's fiddling, 10, 11, like him or Kevin Durant, him or Joel Embiid, him and Maxey to me were kind of always like in the same tier. I just thought the Knicks have had a better team. But no, Jalen Brunson, one of the most clutch players in basketball, without a doubt. Um, there's not many things you can say. I mean, he's 6'1". He can just if that, right? And there's no stopping him. He's just big, brawly, and he can shoot the piss out the ball. He can pass the ball. He gets to his spot. He's clutch when it matters. Like you can't throw Jalen Brunson off his game. And we've seen it throughout this finals run. Stephon Castle has played some phenomenal defense on him, but when Jalen Brunson wants to get to his spot, Jalen Brunson gets to his spot. Now, the only thing that has him a little lower for me is he will have games where he's just really inefficient, and he's a really ball dominant guy. I mean, he's under 6 foot, like probably he's probably like 5'11", realistically. So my biggest knock on him is that and that's not even his fault, but he can only be so high up in the rankings for me because when you're that small, you can't play defense that well. You're gonna have dumb turnovers. You're gonna be really reliant on having the ball in your hands. So Jalen Brunson for me is a solidified number 9 player. Um, and y'all might not like this, but at 8, I got Steph Curry. Like, I still think Steph Curry is when he's playing is just otherworldly. Like, it's just otherworldly. I mean, the stuff he manages to do, and he's what 38 now. Um, Let me pull up Steph Curry stats on a year because I know he ended up missing a lot of games. But Steph Curry is 38 years old, 6 foot, 6'2", and he averaged 27 this year, 40% from three again, or 39% from three again. Like, and I mean, it just sucks for Steph because I mean, he only played 43 games this year for one, but he's also been on bad teams since the finals run they've had. Um, so like, I hate seeing his older years get wasted, but I mean, every year, like he's beating father time. Him and Braun just continually beating father time. And it's so weird that Bron's no longer on these lists. Bron and Kevin Durant not being in my top 10 players like feels so wrong. Like it's fucking LeBron James, man. He's just not that level anymore though. Um, but yeah, Steph Curry at number 7, excuse me, number 8 is just, to me, I think he could be higher on this list if I'm being completely honest. And I do have a little bit of bias towards Steph because I love him. He's my second favorite player like ever. Um, but I mean, no one can do the shit Steph Curry does. And he's doing this off just jump shots. I mean, I think he's an underrated finisher all time. I think he's one of the best finishers, especially for his height. He has such a phenomenal handle. And it's like he hasn't lost a step in the last 6 years. I mean, like he still shoots almost 40% from 3. And he's never open. He's out there playing with a bunch of fucking bullshit. I mean, I love Jimmy, but at this point in Jimmy's career, like in a regular season, he's not on nothing. And then he was injured for most of the year. Not Jimmy, but Steph Curry. I pray the Warriors do something to get Steph Curry some help because I love Steph and I do not want to see his career just end on bad teams where he's still going fucking crazy. I mean, you even saw this year against the Spurs. He was out there putting up like 40 balls against the Spurs, man. Oh, he's so good. He's so good. So good. But next, my number 7 spot, and this is where I feel like people start getting a little antsy. I got Anthony Edwards, who I have a very different opinion on Anthony Edwards than I think most people. I think most people think Anthony Edwards is like one of the best players in the world. Okay, obviously I think he's one of the best players in the world. I have him at 7. Um, but with that, like I would not feel any type of way if somebody had Cade above him, somebody had Brunson above him, somebody had Steph above him. I wouldn't feel any type of way because I think Anthony Edwards, while he's really good and while he's like led the Timberwolves to back-to-back Western Conference Finals, I think that I think he just gets a little bit overrated. If you want me to be honest, I think Anthony Edwards is a little bit overrated, and that's not because he's not elite. He's an elite offensive player. Um, I just think he lacks the playmaking a little bit. Like I think he lacks the playmaking. I think he's an overrated defender, and I think he is. But he's just an elite scorer, and he's an elite shooter now. He's a 40% shooter. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm shitting on Anthony Edwards because I obviously have him as my 7th best player in the league. But I think the conversation around Anthony Edwards is like, oh, he's an MVP. Oh, he's one of the best players in the world. I don't think Anthony Edwards is at that level of the rest of these guys on his list. And I'll just spoil it now. I got Tatum ahead of him at 6. And I think that's the biggest thing is that like they're like, how the hell do you have Tatum above Anthony Edwards? To me, Jason Tatum, who I'll move into talking about more, is just so undeservingly hated on. So undeservingly hated on. Um, he's been nothing but a winner throughout his whole career, like an absolute winner. And he does everything well, in my opinion. He's a good playmaker for his position. He's an elite rebounder for his position. He can score the ball with the best of them in the league. And he wins. He wins. I know the Celtics have I think the Celtics and the Timberwolves both have good teams, right? But Tatum in the playoffs wins. I've never seen him shy from the moment. I've seen him constantly come out and take what's his. But also, I'll tell you this much. I've kind of viewed Tatum the same way as I view Anthony Edwards. I don't think either of these guys are on the level of the rest of the league. Not the rest of the league, excuse me. The rest of the players on his list. I think there's a very clear and large gap between 6 and 5, between 6 and 7 and 5. But I think Tatum this year, a lot of people are down on him because he's coming off an injury. And when he came back, he wasn't scoring as well. He wasn't as efficient. I'm not worried about Tatum. I don't agree with all the Tatum slander. Yes, I think he can be a little bit corny. But I mean, at the end of the day, he hoops and he's elite. Anthony Edwards is elite. I mean, all the guys I'm talking about here are elite. What am I saying? But yes, I would say that Tatum and Anthony Edwards are nowhere near the top of this list, which at number 5 is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis has been in a weird position because for so long, well, for the several years, it was like him and Jokic, him and Jokic, him and Jokic, Luka, Jokic and Luka were the three best players in the league. And not even necessarily that I think that they've surpassed Giannis, but his teams have been bad. He's been in and out of lineups with injury. He's constantly been in the media. I don't want to play here, but I do want to play here, but I don't want to play here, but I want to play here. And I think that the image of Giannis kind of just gets shifted, which whether it's his fault or not, I think that on any given day, Giannis can play like the best player in the league. He can give you 35, 14, 8 assists, 3 blocks, 2 steals, but he can also like just not play. Like I don't know, injuries are a big thing with him, and that's the biggest difference between him and the rest of the people on this list is that he is probably the least available, and his teams have been the worst over the years. So in turn, it makes Giannis a little bit worse than the rest of these guys. But at number 4, I got Luka Doncic. I got the Don. Um, Luka is just offensively, there is not a single thing that you can't say he's elite at. He's an elite playmaker. He's an elite rebounder. He's an elite scorer at all 3 levels. He has a good handle. He's just an offensive genius. Um, but of course, defensively, yeah, yeah. But I mean, Luka's a walking 35, 12, and 10. So how much can you really knock him? I don't even have that much to say about it. I feel like the top of this list is pretty obvious who these guys are. But at number 3, this is where a lot of people will probably lose me. I got SGA. And I'll just come out and say my top 3 players in the NBA right now in order. Number 3, SGA. Number 2, Nikola Jokic. And number 1, Victor Wembanyama. Before everyone gets ahead of themselves and starts yelling at me in the comments, Wemby is the best player in the world. And honestly, no one can say nothing to change my mind about it. There's nothing y'all can say to change my mind about it. Wemby's the best player in the world. He defensively, there's no one close to him. No one in the league does what Wemby does defensively, right? No one in the league scares people the way Wemby does. But then offensively, he'll give you 26. What did he average on the year? He averages 20, 25, and 12, three assists in 29 minutes. You're going to tell me that's not the best player in the world? 25 and 12 in 29 minutes, not even 30 minutes a night. And I won't lie, I'll be the first to call Wemby out on a lot of games where he's bad. Like game 2 of the NBA Finals, I thought he was bad. He finished with 28 points. I mean, he's just on another world. The expectations for him are through the roof. There's nothing anyone can say right now that'll change my mind that Victor Wembanyama is the best player in the league. And that brings me to my number 2, who is Nikola Jokic. And the reason that he's not number 1 is because he's not even a quarter of the defensive player that Victor Wembanyama is. Victor Wembanyama defensively alone is a top 10 player in the NBA, excuse me. You add in his offense, 7'4", can dunk you any possession, but can also take a 3, nail it in your head, step back, pull up, whatever. Demigod. Real life demigod. This is a 2K demigod we're seeing. Nikola Jokic is that almost as flawless of a player as you can find. All 3 level scorer, best playmaker in the league, one of the smartest players in the league, can rebound the hell out of the basketball. 3-time MVP, NBA champ. But I'm sorry, I'm taking Wemby. And I have Jokic over Shea. I know the conversation after this year, Jokic's bad playoff run, everyone is jumping on the Shea train. I love Shea. I think like him, Jokic, even Luka to me are all interchangeable. Like you can do whatever you want with that 3. I just personally, I'll take Jokic over Shea, but Shea 6'6", smooth, like good enough defensively. Offensively, there's nothing, you can't stop him. He's a bucket. You can't stop him. He's gonna get his 30. You can't. Can play make, can rebound. There's no knocks on Shea. There's no knocks on Jokic, but Wemby is almost a perfect basketball player, and I'm taking him as the best player in the league. So, yep, that is my top 10. My top 10 in the NBA from 1 to 10: Victor Wembanyama, Nikola Jokic, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, Giannis, JT, Ant-Man, Steph, Brunson, and Cade Cunningham. Argue with a wall. But that will do it for today's episode of From the Sidelines. I think I'm going to be doing one episode every Wednesday. So stay tuned. Follow the socials. They're all linked on the thing. And yeah, man. Till next time, I'll catch y'all.